Dear, End of Times, I think that's your name. Um, I agree with you that Obama is inexperienced, and that concerns me because although I'm British, I have family in America, namely my daughter and my parents. My mum's British, and I'm British, but I also have a brother and sister, two sisters that are Americans as well, and their children are Americans. So yes, it does concern me that there's an inexperienced leader um, in charge of America. But however, I have to disagree with you on the fact that you said that Bush is a good guy who got a bad rap. I personally, um, I think I agree with the rest of the commentators. He isn't a good guy with a bad rap. He is what he is. All you have to do is do research on George Bush and his family tree and his political leanings and his involvement with other things, and yes, some people may hail him as a hero for going into Iraq and Afghanistan after 9/11, but the fact is there's a lot of things that have not been said about what's been happening under George Bush. Why? What about, for example, if George Bush is so great, how come the mistreatment of the POWs in Iraq? How come American soldiers were allowed to abuse the Iraqi people, even though the Iraqi people weren't aware they were being abused, which has also been found on the internet. So, and he's the person who could have put a halt to these things. Okay, fair enough, these individuals eventually got their just desserts for their behavior, but the fact is, it's time to call the troops home. They don't need to be over there anymore. And as for him being responsible for there not being any more attacks on America, I don't think so somehow, because by rights, I live here in the UK, and from my perspective, Blair, who was our Prime Minister at the time, and Bush committed, what is it, when they've sent other leaders to The Hague for crimes against humanity. First of all, they went in without the support of the United Nations. They went in to Iraq, and okay, firstly, when they first went into Iraq, yes, they did have the backing of other nations initially, after the World Trade Center went down, but the continued involvement of the military, I think it was sometime later, the extra troops going in, I think that was not approved by the UN, if memory serves. So how has Bush, along with Blair, and that's another thing, how Blair managed to just walk away from, and now he's actually supposedly an ambassador of some sort, and the thing is, we've still got people over there when they should be home, and we should allow the people over there to get on with their lives and rebuild their structures and rebuild their self-esteem and their government, instead of chasing after ghosts. And the reason I say that is because I believe Osama bin Laden is dead. I have believed it for quite some time, and recent so-called videos of what appears to be a bin Laden look nothing like the man. They look more like, like Saddam did. He had, not clones, but he had people who looked remotely like him. But there was telltale signs that they weren't him. So, as far as I'm concerned, they're chasing after ghosts. Bin Laden is dead, and the longer we're over there, both the UK and the US, the sooner or later, the generations that are to come from those countries are going to want to have their piece of the pie, so to speak. They're going to want to challenge us because we have, in effect, killed their loved ones and their families. Okay, the 3,000 lives were lost on 9/11, but how many more of their people have been killed by our troops since we've been over there? You know, two wrongs don't make a right. That's why I look at it. You know, two wrongs a right doesn't make, no matter who sheds the blood, whether it's us or them. That is wrong. Two wrongs just do not add up. And like I said, to say George Bush is a great guy with a bad rap, no. I'm sorry, that's saying chalk is cheese, and no, I'm sorry, I can't accept that. But I do agree with you as far as Obama goes. He's totally inexperienced, and I feel that the reason he won this election is because they want someone they can manipulate and control, because someone who has no experience to run a government, or has, in your particular case, hasn't even won any proposals in the Senate, has no successes in the Senate, how can you be sure that he's going to achieve anything as a president? And like I said, it doesn't matter to me if the president or our prime minister is red, black, yellow, white, Jewish, Christian, Muslim. It doesn't matter. That doesn't bother me. It's the person's credentials and ability to carry out their job. That is what I would want to have who I'd want to have represent me, and not someone. I don't want someone that can spiel out rhetoric. Rhetoric is just plain talk. It's just, anyone can speak rhetoric, but it doesn't mean anything if you can't follow it up. If you can't follow it up with something more substantial, then rhetoric is just rhetoric. And so far, that's all I've heard from your president-elect is rhetoric. I haven't heard what he plans on doing to help the American people. All I keep hearing him saying is it's going to take some time, and that, but I haven't heard him actually, tell the American people how he plans to make things better for them. I'm just making an observation, okay? And yes, it's great to see America has a black president, but it would certainly be better if to know that president has the experience to back it up, okay? It's easy when you're outside looking in. You can see the woods through the trees. When you're inside looking out, you can only see what you're being allowed to see. And when you're in a group like that, and you tend to go with a popular vote, and popularity tends to rule. I know, I went to school in America, so I know how, if you're popular, how you do succeed on popularity, regardless of what your abilities are. If you look at, in my case, going to school, it was how you looked, not what your grades were, but what part of society you were involved in. That's where I noticed everything in America is based on popularity and inherent wealth, and it's just whether or not that carries on in schools today, I'm not sure, but I do know it was happening when I lived over there for a short time, and I went to school over there. Popularity means more than experience and credentials and the ability that a person has, and also more than their personality. In other words, if your eyes are the right color, you get the popular vote, no matter what substance you carry with you. So, as far as I'm concerned, as far as Bush goes, he's also, I don't know, I don't trust him. I never trusted him. And